Hello and welcome to the 2-minute warning interview series where we ask what is next and what should be next in the global energy transition. Is the upheaval in the world energy market moving fast enough now in order to hit the climate goals of tomorrow? At the moment, the resounding answer seems to be no. So let's find out how we can get a little bit closer to that. My name is 𝗦𝘁𝘶𝗵𝗶𝗆 and I'm the director of the Energy Transition Dialogues at Gulf Intelligence. I'm very glad to have Dr. 𝗠𝘂𝘀𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗆. He is the Chief Scientist and Director of the Energy Management Program at the Qatar Environment and Energy Research Institute with me today. Hello, Dr. 𝗠𝘂𝘀𝘁𝗵𝗆. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. I'm very well. I'm very glad to be here with you today.
Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with some good news, shall we? So Qatar has topped the MENA region status in the World Economic Forum's 2021 index for fostering the energy transition. That's great news. That's a great start. And as the region starts to make more concrete steps towards the energy transition, the pressure more and more is going to be on what's next, what can be done next, how can we accelerate this further and further. From your point of view, what measures can Qatar take in the near term as well, you know, for the next 8 months of this year and the next couple of years? We're really interested in the near term. What kind of measures can Qatar take to help accelerate its decarbonisation and keep it at the, you know, near the top of that WEF rating?
Well, you know, I think the first thing to do is to try to understand a little bit how Qatar came to such a development, how Qatar, you know, became to achieve such good score on the energy transition. And I think this is due essentially to a strong transition readiness, and what that means is essentially maturity on the human capital, consumer participation side, institutional and government, regulation and political commitment, and obviously infrastructure. So, for example, in Qatar, as you may know, we have an ongoing the ongoing construction of 800 megawatt PV plant, which will be completed by the end of 2021, and that's about 8% of the national electricity capacity in 2019. So it's quite good. Then the Public Works Authority, Ashgal, is developing a bus shelter in the bus depot, and they're starting with a 5 megawatt system in Lusail, and they're going to be 3 more. And then there are 2 400 megawatt plants scheduled to be developed in the north side of the country and the more southern part in Ras Laffan and Messier. So
when are those for that you said they're scheduled for? When will that be?
It's not clear, but I think, you know, probably a couple of years. So I think, you know, the country is really on a line to achieve its goal of 20% national energy capacity generation via solar PV, photovoltaic, solar photovoltaic, ahead of the 230 targets. Probably, you know, by 215, this latest plant should be online. So also, as you may know, you know, Qatar was very early in submitting the intended national determined contribution for the Paris agreement. The first submission was in 2015, where Qatar identified, you know, the various areas that needs to be addressed: efficiency, renewable energy, you know, water and waste management, and so on and so forth. And so Qatar is very committed to the Paris agreement. So, you know, these different things, the investment in the infrastructure and the commitment to the Paris agreement are basically, you know, two of the main measures that indicate the Qatar's commitment and that are behind the achievement that you mentioned in the beginning. So
what about net zero? Just on that, that's obviously a very strong base, and we've seen the news headlines a lot in the last year. Some of the world's biggest economies committing to net zero by 2050, China by 2060. Is that on the cards for Qatar? Is that something that's in the works, or is it just not? Is it not a priority right now, and they're focusing on the national vision targets instead?
It is very much in line with the 2030 national vision, the national vision 2030. And I think there are a number of ways in which Qatar can work and kind of help other countries in the MENA region to achieve the kind of same targets. Particularly, first of all, sort of joining or kind of collaborating with the other countries that have subscribed to the Paris Agreement, and there are a number in the MENA region: Oman, Egypt, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, Tunisia, and so on and so forth. To create a kind of a standard for commitment in terms of response measure. And it's very important that this be done in terms of the local constraints, because first of all, there's always we have to keep in mind the balance with respect to dependence on the export of oil and gas that many countries in this region have, the harsh weather conditions. So it's very important. This could definitely be a way in which Qatar could work with the other countries in the MENA region to go the next level. Another important, in fact, even equally important aspect is the development of a green finance investment model, which is tailored to the needs of the MENA region. When I think about, when I talk about needs, I refer both to economic and cultural needs. So, for example, one way in terms of cultural investment configuration, one important thing is to address products such as the sukuk, which is a Sharia-compliant bond-like instrument that can be used.
The green sukuk bonds are soaring. I think Saudi Arabia and the UAE are among the 4 top countries in the world, and between them and the last 2, which are in Asia, there's a huge gulf. So from Saudi Arabia and the UAE are soaring when it comes to green sukuks.
Yes, it's again, as I was saying, it's very important to develop funding channels that comply with the even the cultural constraints of the local economies. And we are working, we at 𝗦𝘲𝗏, at Qatar Environment and Energy Research Institute, we work with the College of Islamic Studies at 𝗦𝗲𝗵𝗶 𝗵𝗶 University. Both the institutions are part of the university. And we're working with 𝗥𝗲𝗁, which is the National Electricity and Water Distribution Company, Qatar Financial Center Authority, the Qatar Stock Exchange, and the Qatar Financial Center to create such, and also the Qatar Regulatory Authority to create such, a green financing channel.
What kind of stage is that at? Is there a deadline for when that may be developed by, or when this platform may be launched?
It's already in the works, and in particular, we've been working already for over a year with Qatar Financial Center to actually create such a fund. And one of the things, one of the targets for this, and this is something that where 𝗥𝗲𝗁 will be very much involved, is the development of solar community installations. And solar community is just it's something that it's become very popular in Europe and the US in the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. Is the development essentially PV assets shared across a number of owners. And you know, like for example, the Brooklyn microgrid is an example of it. And typically installments where basically, you know, a bunch of people, homeowners or even renters, you know, get together and either buy or purchase from a provider PV services, and then they, on the basis of their share, you know, it's like whether they're leasing it or owning it, they get the money back for the.
And that this is developed in, this is already developing, this is already happening in Qatar?
No, it's not, but we are working on it. And
so you're working on the climate finance platform, you're working on the solar communities as well, and are they interconnected? Will some of the finance from the platform support the solar communities? Not exclusively, of course, but are they linked in any way?
It's as I was saying before, you know, Qatar Financial Center, which is essentially a sort of a clearinghouse, so to speak, you know, for connecting people with respect to special investments, is one of the major actors that we've been working on. And the idea here is to create a specific, to start with a specific investment you know, channel product, maybe a green sukuk on solar, on community solar.
Okay, excellent. We're talking about a lot of national community, national cohesiveness as well, and there seems to be a lot going on the ground to bring this together. And earlier on you mentioned about national constraints as well, and that those need to be dealt with. Do you think, considering the way COVID-19 has impacted countries and the way it's highlighted the price volatility, obviously with the global oil prices, and there's been a renewed sense of political commitment to rethinking regional supply chains and integration, do you think that now the conversation about a pan-Arab electricity market may truly be on the cards? Do you think we can actually see progress on this in 2021 and reboot that very old conversation?
Yes, well, you know.
Yes, great.
it's I think, you know, it's a very complex question because yes. Especially when we look at modern renewables in general, you know, bioenergy, thermal, solar, hydro, wind, biofuels. Because, you know, if you look at the developments recently, obviously there's a tendency to go towards this developments, but you know, to be truthful, the worldwide the growth is not being as much as one would have hoped. However, the good news that when we look at solar energy has been really growing very fast, and it accounts, you know, worldwide, it accounts for about 2.8 of global electricity production. That's kind of 2019 figure, which is, you know, quite a bit. Indeed. Yeah, and I think, you know, moving forward, my personal hunch is that we will continue to see a very strong growth of solar PV, solar photovoltaic installation. And, you know, the main reason for this is that it's very simple. It's the cheapest source of electricity in history, really. I mean, if you look at
do you see, because the solar market, like you say, it's very much on many projects price competitive with fossil fuels. The market's growing significantly, and the Middle East is home to some of the world's biggest and lowest price projects, of course. But do you see a solar interconnected electricity pan-Arab market happening at some point? You know, maybe even if it took 10 years. Do you think that there's that level of ambition?
For solar PV, definitely, you know, because of the low price. You know, if you look at the latest tender in Saudi Arabia for 600 megawatt plant in Saudi Arabia, the cost there was like US cents per kilowatt hour, which is like incredibly low. When you think about what the cost of electricity from natural gas is, 6 US cents per kilowatt hour, and even wind, which is one of the cheapest renewable, it's about 5.3 US cents per kilowatt hour. So at 1 cent a kilowatt hour, it's a no-brainer, really. It's a no-brainer. However, and there is the challenge. The challenge is that solar is solar energy is not a dispatchable source of energy. That it means you don't always have it when you need it. The sun comes and goes, and it's not there at night, so you have to deal with that. So in that respect, one game changer. Well, obviously, the coupling with wind is important, because wind you have almost a complementary. You can have a complementary time with sun, but and a big game changer there would be energy storage. And
yes.
One problem there is that energy storage is it's still expensive. It's expected to go down. About maybe $140, $150 per kilowatt hour in 2030, and 88 in 2050. I think once we go below around the $100, it becomes extremely feasible. And then but there are other forms of storage. There is a hydrogen storage may surprise us and come up with the cheap way of doing it, and other forms of storage. So I think moving forward, storage would be the great game changer in enabling a really massive adoption of solar energy, and
other markets.
Sorry.
And other markets, of course, like you just touched upon as well. It's the big S, storage. Just being we need that to very much be unlocked. And looking ahead for the next 8 months with Qatar, it already sounds very busy. You've got the finance platform, the solar community amid. There's other projects going on as well. You mentioned about the solar projects. There's a lot going on. Clearly, the intention for decarbonisation is truly underway. Is there anything looking ahead to the next 8 months that you think I would really like there to be a greater focus on that? If you had your own wish list and no restraints, you could just whatever you wish. Is there anything that you think actually it would be great to have a bigger focus on that?
Well, I think certainly on the financial side, the establishment of a green investment product would be very useful in pushing things forward, and particularly the option of renewable energy. And then the kind of the creation also of an infrastructure for electric vehicles. That's another important aspect of renewable energy and the reduction of carbon emissions. And electric vehicles have not made the development, have not shown the growth that we would have hoped that yet. But I think moving forward, we are likely to see more development in the area. And again, this is where energy storage comes in again.
Storage.
So it's and in particular for this region of the world, because one thing about current energy storage technology is that they don't do so well in very low or very high temperatures. And as you know, here in Qatar during the summer, in Qatar as well other Gulf countries and many other countries in the MENA region, the temperature easily goes to 50 degrees centigrades.
That's quite something, isn't it? That's really quite something. Yeah. Dr. 𝗦𝘁cie, thank you so much for joining us, and I really feel for you heading into the summer, having just told us that as well. And there's so much going on in Qatar, and I really hope that you'll be able to join us again soon and give us an update, maybe towards the end of the year, and just give us an update on what's happening in Qatar, and we can see how things have moved along, including that platform, the solar communities, and the financial mechanisms as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do this. So thank you so much, Michelle, for having me here with you today. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.